Introducing wealth building to our children at a very early age, explaining what it means to build wealth. As with today's wealth, they progress to future wealth, and then you get generational wealth. So everybody can build wealth. It's a discipline and the information that is needed to build the wealth. Don't be cajoled into paying your time. If you don't believe, Bible says anything that is not done in faith it's not acceptable to God. Generational wealth is more than just leaving money behind. It is creating a foundation of financial security, of opportunities, knowledge, values that improve the lives of your children and your grandchildren.
Have you ever wondered why some families build wealth that last for generations, why others struggle financially despite working hard? Today, we are uncovering the secrets to building generational wealth in today's economic and how you can create a lasting legacy for your family. Hi everyone, welcome back to Wisdom for Exploit. I am your host, Bola Amore. Today we're focusing on the secret to building generational wealth in today's economic, and I have an amazing guest with me, Bibi Apampa. She is a wealth strategist, a pastor, and she is an author of so many books and also a retirement coach. Welcome, my wonderful guest, to this talk show. How are you faring?
I'm well, and thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. I've been following you on Facebook, on your social media platform, so it's good to now, have this interaction with you. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. My introduction question to you is, I can see you wear so many hats. You are a retirement coach, a wealth strategist, a pastor, award-winning authors. Could you please tell us a little bit about your journey and what inspired you to pursue all these paths?
Very many things that one gets into is ordained by God, even though you might not realize it. I got into investment at a very early age. And it started more like it was more like a confusion. I was 13. I overheard my father then talking on the phone, telling someone, oh, I need to buy 100 shares. And if I can, I'll see my finances, maybe I can even get more than 100 shares. And I was wondering, 100 shares in this house, what does he want to do with 100 shares? So when he finished his conversation, I told Daddy, what are you doing with 100 shares? I was about 13 years old then. And because I was mistaking shares as CHAIR instead of SHARES. He was talking about buying shares in a company.
Okay.
So I had shares, which was the chair you sit on.
Oh.
And so it took time then to now explain to me that no, it was not about physical chairs that we sit on. It was talking about owning a company, owning a part of a company. And then he explained it to me that, look, when you're building a house, you have different bricks that you put on top of each other. People can buy different bricks to build the wall. So let's say the wall is divided into 100 bricks, and they now tell you, oh, contribute to buy one. You own part of that wall because you bought that one. He said, so that is what you mean, that a company wants to invite people to buy into it, and then wants to buy 100 shares. That the company has been divided into like millions and shares, and that you can take as many of the parts that you want. And for me, as a 13-year-old, it was enlightening, it was exciting. I know it asked me a challenge. Say, you know what? Whatever you save from your pocket money, I will double it and I'll let you to buy shares. And those envelopes that we go to the post office to collect every week, you've been saving money in the post office. And you will, and then, you keep on receiving money, and the more pocket money you save, the more I put my own contribution, I'll buy more shares for you, and you'll be receiving more envelopes with money in the, and you said, it is your money, I will not touch it, you will spend it, but you will not spend everything, you will save more, and then you buy more shares. And it was so simple and so exciting for me
Mm.
that the challenge was there. Oh, I have to save out of my pocket money. And so that daddy can buy me shares and I can be receiving envelopes like he receives from the post office. And the first time he took me to the post office and I had an envelope that had my name on it, I was so excited that what me too, I'm receiving money from the post office like my daddy, and that encouraged me to save more. And that's one thing we need to understand. Introducing wealth building to our children at a very early age,
Mm.
explaining what it means to build wealth. So that's the first background or introduction to investment that I had. Now I'm a chartered accountant, a fellow, and also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation. I got to this by so that's by way of education, my background. I'm a chartered accountant. I read accounting. So obviously, that financial background will also help me when it came to going into investment. Because when I was working in the bank as
Mm.
a chartered accountant, I was put in the loan desk. So I have to analyze many loan proposals to see if the bank would invest in those things. And many times when I see those proposals I for myself, I think I can do more than this. So when they bring in the proposal, I'll be the one even telling the person who needs the loan. You did not have this, you did not have that, you need this information. And so that exposed me to business at a very early age
Yeah.
because I was running the loan portfolio of the bank.
Mm.
And before I left the bank, I was heading the budget and planning department. And so that also helped me to understand that if I'm going to run the budget and um, budgetary allocation for the bank, for different branches and expenses, then I needed to do that with my own personal finances as well. If I'm going to do it for somebody on a career basis. So that was the other area where I now got into budgeting and finance and investment. Now going into coaching
Wow.
was a bit was like I was accidental. Uh, I started a business in the UK, and I've done all my due diligence. We have done everything that needed to be done, and I was so sure the business was going to succeed. We took a big loan, and my husband and I even gave a personal guarantee. Unfortunately, within 1.5 years, the business collapsed, and we're now deep in debt. And I'm talking about six-figure debt with personal guarantee. And this is like 2008, 2009. That was when there was the crash and there was recession. Everything was just upside down.
Mm.
So the challenge was, how do we get out of debt? We have a personal guarantee, which means it's not just the company alone that has to pay. And so I started learning a lot about debt management, what to do, how to consolidate your debt, how to get out of debt. And so people started, I'm glad we're talking about how things are bad in the country, how debt is. And now
Mm.
we are telling them, look, these are some facilities that are available. These are things you can do to make sure you reduce the debt, this is how you consolidate it. And people started inviting me to talk. That's why I said my speaking career was accidental. Along the line, I kept on saying, I don't want to be known as a debt coach. I don't want people to always be asking me, how do I get out of debt? I want to tell people how to create wealth, how to get out of debt, and how to restart, because I have to like restart my life with that kind of financial setback. So that's when I now started searching and going into shares, investment, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds. What are the things that I could do to get out of debt without, I didn't have capital anymore, without much money. And that's how I got into the online business space. So I started out to restart my business, but now starting with no capital. And that's how I got into the online business. And so in doing all of that, I ended up transitioning and using my background in finance
Mm.
to now go into business properly. without carrying too much load. Now, how did the coaching come in? After I started telling people how to get out of debt, how to restart their life, people would always ask me, "Oh, can you help me? What can I do? Where do I start from?" And before I used to do it like for free. Then I now realized I went for one particular meeting and the preacher was talking. I said, "What do you have in your hands?" That everything that pertains to life and godliness, God has put inside of us. That some of you, the gifts that God has put inside of you are giving it for free. But meanwhile, God is telling you, "I have given you a seed that pertains unto life and godliness. Use it." And that struck a very deep note in me. And I realized that if I've been doing all this coaching for free and counseling, financial counseling, I could actually turn it into a career. So I now went and did a professional course in life coach. Then I now, went deeper from just being a life coach. I now did business coaching. And then from business coaching, I now did high performance coaching because I realized, okay, I needed to accelerate. And divine acceleration was one area I felt I was gifted in, or a calling that I was an anointing that was upon me, divine acceleration. And so I did the course on high performance coach. And it was from there that I can say the coaching started. Now, the recovery coaching also was accidental. It wasn't planned. I was doing very well as a business coach, as a wealth coach, as a wealth strategist, like you mentioned, and high performance coaching. Because that was the one that I really got excited in, how to get people to be at peak performance in whatever they're doing. Now, retirement coaching, as I said, was accidental. And there's always a story behind many of these things that I'm doing. My mom was a retired teacher.
Okay.
And in Nigeria, they always have to go and show. They used to call it "I'm alive." They used to say, "Oh, I'm going for I'm alive ceremony exercise." Right? Well, what is this? I'm alive, I'm alive. So one day I followed her. And I was emotionally moved because I saw retirees. This was in Nigeria. I saw retirees, some being carried on a wheel, some on wheelchairs, some on wheelbarrows, some of them blind. They all had to line up, and there was no hall or a shade or something prepared for them. They all have to line up, just come and sign that I'm alive to receive a pension. And that struck a deep note to me that this is so unfair. Why should they have to struggle to get what is their own, what they're entitled to?
Sure.
And I remember saying, I told my mom, "Look, you can't be spending 5-6 hours on a queue. How much are they paying? This is not what you're even using to eat. This doesn't even pay your electricity bill, not to talk of." He said, "No, but it's my entitlement. I should have it. I should, that kind of thing." And I realized, okay, it wasn't just the entitlement that was the driving force. It was also a way of meeting with all the people that retired together. So it was more like, okay, we're all coming here to say I'm alive, but we're all meeting each other and talking and gisting and all. But that's not a note in me that, look, if people are really well prepared for their retirement, they should not be going through this kind of pressure and stress and all. And so that's how I now delved into retirement planning. As I said, it was accidental. And it was around now in during the lockdown year 20, because that's when I really started the retirement planning. During the 2021-22, a number of my friends who are professionals called me and were now asking me for coaching. People that I didn't even expect. And many of them were like, "I've worked in the bank all my life. I've been an executive all my life. What could happen to me?" Now the everybody is closer, and I just realized I don't have any other source of income. I don't even know what to do. I have only about 4 years, 5 years to retirement. What do I do? Maybe you're a wealth coach, you're a wealth strategist, you're a high performance coach. Tell me what I need to do now to prepare. this lockdown has shown me that I am very vulnerable. I do
Mm,
not have enough income. Everything that I had was was related to this position I'm occupying. What happens when I have to leave? And
mm,
that's how I said it was accidental
yeah.
getting into retirement coaching. And now the funny thing is that people know me more as the retirement queen because I do now do a lot of stuff. I write books, I do things on retirement coaching. So I think that's my background story.
Wonderful. That's so much. That's quite vast, is it? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. Bibi. Okay. You had a wonderful award with the Amazon, isn't it, many years ago? So how did you come about that?
Hmm. That one too, as I said, the steps of the righteous are ordered of the Lord.
Yeah.
And many times we need to like surrender to God and let Him choose our inheritance for us.
Mm,
Because I'd always written a lot of articles, I was now speaking, I got an email from Mark Victor Hansen, is a group, asked me to co-author a book with him and I think with 10 other people on different aspects
mm,
of finance and all. But then when I got the note, I was like, chicken soup for the soul, coming in from an African mindset, you're like, can this be real? Who am
mm,
I? Why would they want me? Why contribute a chapter? Mark Victor Hansen doesn't need me. I mean, to reach, he sold over 500 million books. Why invite me? You understand? And that's why I said sometimes God just opens the door. Don't just yield to him and let him lead you. And so I wrote in the chapter for the book, same thing, and we have to do a lot of training because everything has to be up to the standard of taking to for the soul series that he was writing. So that really exposed me as well to what it is to write. I'd written a book before then that did not fly. In fact, I was giving it out to everybody for free at some of my speaking engagements and all. And I then got a message that we have been nominated by the Bestseller Academy in the US and we should come into the US for the award ceremony and all. We were not, it's always been nominated is another thing to me, you
mm,
know. So when they said we are nominated, for me, it's a free holiday. I did not see the import. I did not see how important it was. You understand? It was something like the Emmy Award for authors. But because I had not been that exposed at that time, I did not really understand it. So I'm getting to America and everybody holding my name, listening the limo, and I was like, me? How did it, how did I get here? And
mm,
in fact, when we went for the award, I went alone because, as I said, I didn't even know how big it was. But they have told us there's going to be a red carpet, they're going to walk through the red carpet, and they have told us to arrive like 2 days before that we would go through some series of protocol training and things. That's when I now realized the import of what it was. But for me, I was enjoying it. I just said, well, I don't need to win an award. I just need, it's a free holiday for me. It's a very wonderful experience. Hollywood, all the lights, the bride, all that kind of paparazzi and all. But when we're not telling you this is how you work, this is how you shake hands, this is how you wave, I mean, it was that insane, So, but I thank God for the opportunity.
mm,
As I said, I went there alone. I was not even go with it because we did not know how big it was. And so when my name was called, I was shocked. So very hot. Because I didn't even rehearse my speech. I did
mm,
not because I did not think I would win any award. I was just nominated, as one of the new authors on the block, that kind of thing.
mm.
And it was more or less riding on my Victor and saying the background, his books, and all. And so that's how I ended up getting the award. The book is bestseller list.
Mm.
And there was a lot of publicity, there was a lot of interviews, podcast invitations, conference invitations. And you just realize that from one door, that's what they call the corridor principle.
Mm.
When one big door opens,
Oh.
other smaller doors start opening as well. And so that was what happened. Once that big door opened, other doors started opening for me. And so by the time I started down writing books in my own name, they ended up going on the bestseller list as well. And they ended up winning more awards and that kind of thing. So that's my story.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much. And once more, thank you for honoring this call. Thank you for honoring this call. I'm so grateful. So we're going to dive into our topic. And as I've said earlier on, that the secret to building generational wealth in today's economic. My first question is, what is generational wealth and why is it important in today's economic?
You know, the Bible is so complete. And I always reference the Bible. God said something about Abraham. He said, I know him.
Mm.
And I know he will command his generation after him.
Yeah.
He could trust Abraham to pass on things generationally. So Abraham was not just thinking about of himself, he was thinking about generation that will come after him. You understand? Now, generational wealth is more than just leaving money behind. It is creating a foundation of financial security, of opportunities, knowledge, values that improves the lives of your children and your grandchildren.
Mm.
So it's not a matter of how much money am I leaving behind. It's what will remain because I lived.
Mm.
What will my children's children have because of me? In today's economy with rising costs, economic uncertainty, changing job market, building generational wealth is becoming increasingly important.
Mm.
We cannot assume that the next generation will automatically live a better life than us. No. It's more difficult now, even for our children, to raise the capital to buy their first house.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for some parents, they are not just only subsidizing their children, they're actually paying the school fees of their grandchildren.
Yeah.
Because their children cannot afford to pay the school fees of the school they attended.
Mm.
You understand? So the goal is not just to leave an inheritance. It's to lead a generation that knows how to create, how to manage, and how to multiply wealth.
Okay.
So that's my own idea of generational wealth. It's not just money, it's the values, it's the intelligence, it's the networking, it's the what would I call is the team that your children can rely on. When my father died, he told me that once I died, call my lawyer. It was an instruction before you even announced anything.
Mm.
Just I called the lawyer, you understand that my father has passed on. And he had told me that once he died, I should call you before anything else. He said, yes, I know, yeah, because there are some instructions I need to give to you. And I was able to give you some instructions. This is what your father said must be done. This is what you have to do, And it made life easier for me, even in planning to move ahead and run the business, the family business. So building generational wealth is not just about money.
Mm.
It's about the values that you're passing down. It's about the family inheritance that we want to go on for generations. You find out that in Africa, unfortunately, the first generation will build, the second generation will maintain, and the third generation, they like scatter.
Mm.
But as Christians, we need to change that. The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. It means that his children are already so well grounded. He doesn't need to leave anything for his children because he's now joined that generation. He's now working on his grandchildren.
Mm.
And you find out that each day need to pass on the wisdom from one generation to another to the next, and he continues like that. So that his own children are going to pass on to their own grandchildren. That way, generational wealth continues because the wisdom, the values, and the resources are passed down from generation to generation.
Oh, that's very good. But what about people that have this mentality that this generational wealth is just about money only? Because that's the understanding of a lot of people. Like the scripture you quote, that a good man leave an inheritance for his children. So inheritance, we know inheritance could be houses, it could be land, it could be what else? Investments. Maybe
It could be connections.
it could be connection. Yeah, I've seen people as well that sometimes when their kids goes to maybe for an interview or they're looking for a job, they say, "Oh, we know your father." Once they see the name, they'll say, "Oh, I know your dad is a good person. We're living this." So what about people that have a good name? They have everything good, but nothing in their account. No land, nothing. So what do we say to that?
Generational wealth is not built in one giant leap. It is built through small, consistent decisions repeated over the years. I told you I started investing at the age of 13. And the money I had was like 1,000 naira, 500 naira, more. But you realize that 500 naira, because I know your viewers are not just only in UK, you have those in America, you have those in Nigeria. So that's why I'm using different examples. You know, even now, 500 naira in Nigeria can still buy you shares. There are bank shares that are going for 13 naira, that are going for 30 naira, that are going for 150 naira a share. Which means even with your 500 naira, you can still buy shares.
Okay.
Now, when I started investing in the UK, and I'm going to talk about how you build wealth, regardless of the income that you have. We always think of wealth as until I have a lot of money, until I have free income, until I reach a particular income scale. No. It starts with little things. Once my children were 16, I was 16 or 18, I think it was 16, I employed them in my company. And why did I employ them in my company? I employed them because I wanted them to have a financial track record of working, of what they were doing, and also to start a pension fund for them, and for them to also have the contribution to NI. Now, the pension fund, I had a self-invested pension fund for them. It was £10 a month. £10 a month is affordable for nearly everybody living in the UK. You understand?
Yeah.
And I look back over the years, that £10 a month has grown to almost 6 figures. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't stop at £10. Over the years, it was increasing by 10% every year. So it could go from £10 this year, it could be £11 the next year, and then after that, January, 11, £13, So that was how it was compounding. But the increase was manageable, if I can use that word. It wasn't like a jump from £10 to £40. It was like £10 to £11 to £14 to £20 over the years. Now they have that as the pension fund, which they can draw on as they grow older. That did not depend, or it did not depend on having a large sum of money to start investing. So that's one. So I thought about it. I said it's not just money. It's about passing down values. It's about passing down education, the intelligence to create and maintain wealth. So it's not just the money alone and say, I'm not able to leave a house for my children. But what value did I put in those children that will make it possible for them to leave a house for their own children if I cannot leave a house for them? Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Thank you. So can ordinary families build generational wealth, or is it only for wealthy people?
Definitely it's not. Ordinary families, everybody can. A teacher, a nurse, a carer, everybody can. And I always tell people, even as many of my seminars of those people that I'm coaching, that just set up your mind that, okay, I'm going to build wealth.
Mm.
The first thing I would recommend is start a self-invested SIPP, self-invested pension program. If you're in the UK, the government would add 20% to your pension fund, which means that if you put in £100,
Mm.
government would have £20. So without people doing anything, you've already gained 20% return,
Mm.
right? And then the pension fund will now still invest that money. Is it 20% or 25% that the government adds? I'm not too sure now of the figure, but it's between 20 and 20, either 20 or 25%.
20%.
It's about 20, it's either 20% or 25%. And so let's just take it as 20%, right? So it means that because government feels that the money you put inside there is debt of tax. So if you're paying 20% as tax, they are refunding the tax that would have been on that money that you are putting in your pension fund, right? So from the way I look at it, even before taxing, already you're getting a 20% return. So start with the pension fund. That's the wealth, and then automate it so that before you are able to spend, that money has gone out to the pension fund already. So that's one. So you know you are building that for your retirement. You don't touch it. It's just going there, right? So that's one. Two, open if you're in the UK, open an ISA. ISA is individual savings account. It is tax free, and you're able to put in a maximum of £20,000 every year. We're not talking about you putting in 20,000. If the £100 you can put in, put that in. And then put it into what they call an S&P investment. S&P investment is a fund that tracks the biggest 500 companies in the UK. And over the years, it has always returned a minimum of 78%, even when there's a dip and when it grows. Any money you make in your ISA is tax-free. So if you just £10 you are putting every month, £20 every month, stretch yourself £50 every month, £100 every month, start that particular investment as well. All you are doing is putting £100 every month. You are getting 20% from the government, you are getting a 8% return on the S&P investment. If that is all you do for 40 years, you're going to retire a millionaire with 1.4 million. And that is just only £100 a month, £3 a day. It's wisdom. The Bible says, my children are distressed for lack of knowledge. So without doing business, without delving into anything dangerous, already your future is secure. Just with the £100 investment a month. And I'm saying this because in Nigeria, I did it for some people. I just started putting 3,000. I told them, okay, it's 100 naira a day, 3,000 every month into their pension fund. And over the years, I've just seen it rising. And it's something that all of us can do and get involved in. It's not rock science. So everybody can build wealth. It's a discipline and the information that is needed to build the wealth.
Wow, that's a good one. So what prevents many families from passing down their wealth to future generation? What normally prevents them?
I think it's more of not getting enough information.
Okay.
One, not knowing what to do, the kind of investment opportunities and that is available. Financial education is very important. It's a bridge between receiving wealth and sustaining wealth. If you are well informed, I just told you about two things of income now. That doesn't, it's like you don't even need any, I mean, it's passive. It's a super, it's two streams of income you can start without thinking, without stressing yourself. It's just financial education, knowing what to do and how to do it. So the first thing I think many people lack, right, is lack of financial education,
Mm.
poor estate planning, not planning for the future, not preparing for the future. Then looking more at consumption over ownership, buying the latest car, buying the biggest TV, dressing, I share BDs, having parties. I mean, consumption,
Mm.
going for the latest iPhone, you
Yeah.
know. And then for many families, they never really had a wealth conversation, family wealth conversation.
Mm.
And I told my father sat me down to tell me about shares at 13. So I could start investing in shares. And he did it in a way that encouraged and inspired me to invest. Oh, I will get money coming in from the post office every year.
Mm.
At that time, it was dividend warrants that were sent out. So you go to the post office to collect your letters, and then you get your dividend warrants. Now you don't get dividend warrants; it's paid directly into your account. But explaining it to me at 13 was a wealth education,
Mm.
wealth conversation that many families don't have. And then the other thing is failure to prepare the next generation.
Yeah.
It's important. A child who receives wealth without wisdom will lose it in a few years.
Yeah.
What the parents took decades to build. That's why
Mm.
the generational wealth requires preparation. It's not just accumulation. We're
Mm.
preparing the next generation.
Preparation. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. I remember you mentioned about pension and you mentioned self investment ISA, isn't it? You did mention ISA as well. What other option do we have today for a long-term wealth building?
Okay. No matter how people make their money, they keep their money in real estate.
Real estate. Okay.
So it's important as much as possible that when you make the money, you put the money in real estate.
Okay.
Now there's a particular life ISA that you can start that will help you towards mortgage, towards the government would add money towards your mortgage fund for you to be able to buy a house as a first timer.
Is that the stock ISA?
It's not the stock ISA. It's called a life ISA. There are different ISAs in the UK. So there's a life ISA that you can put money in, and it will help you towards get a mortgage for your first house. So as I said, when it comes to property, it's a topic on its own, on real estate. It's not something we can delve in there. But just one thing I want everybody to just realize is that no matter how you make your money, the best way is to keep it in real estate. Because over the years, real estate has always appreciated, despite the dip, despite the recession and all. But when you put your money in real estate, you have to also understand, and it's very, very important, that location matters. You have people who live in England, and they tell you they're going to build a house in Nigeria. And they're only going to that house for only 1.5 weeks or 2 weeks in a year. All the money they spent in building that house in Nigeria, they're being used to invest here in the UK, and then the return from their investment, now what they should now use to have that kind of holiday home. Okay, so that's one on real estate property investment. I've talked about pension. I've talked about ISA. Now, the other thing is going into the stock market. This is very, very important. In the stock market, you have individual stocks, you have mutual funds, and you have ETFs. And you have bonds.
Actually, now, I have a question here.
Okay, I'd like to talk about each one. Okay. Now, Individual stock is like a company coming onto the stock market needing money, and they're telling you, we have this company, we have this business, come and buy into us. And many people are now talking about the Dangote refinery that's coming up in September. How do we buy shares in these and all? So that is individual stock. And for a long time, I was investing in individual stock. One, because I there are two types of stock. You have the dividend stocks and you have the value stocks. Now, dividend stocks will pay you money every year. And there are some companies that have been consistent in paying dividends every year. Now, there are some companies as well that they don't pay dividends, but their value goes up.
Mm.
You understand? So that's why I said there is dividend shares and there is value shares.
Okay.
It's good to have a combination of the two when it comes to individual stock.
Mm.
So that you are getting dividend, and meanwhile the value of your shares is rising. Why we need the value shares is sometimes you might need financial intervention, bridging loan, and all. You can use your value shares as security to secure loans to build more wealth.
Mm.
Okay. I'm trying to really talk on a level that will be fast and I can pass it across on time, because building wealth is a topic on its own.
Yeah, it's quite wide, because I've got another question here that says, for beginners, how do they invest in such as property, stock, ETF, and remember you mentioned that pension, money market funds, and how do we compare all these ones?
Okay. Let me back up. If you're in the UK, because most of your audience is UK.
Yeah.
First thing, make sure you start an ISA fund. You open an ISA account. Automate it so that the money goes into your ISA account every month.
Okay.
Inside your ISA account, okay, buy a stock and shares ISA. Make sure the stock and shares ISA. And invest in what we call an index fund. Index fund track the top 500 companies in the UK. So that's one for ISA. Everybody can do that, regardless of what you're earning, what you have, and how much income you're coming that comes to. If it's £10, can put in. If it's £20, please start there. So that's one. Now, two, the pension fund.
Before we go to pension fund, the stock and share fund, do you open it just with your normal bank, or you open it with the trading 212?
No, for your stock ISA, it can be with. I'm not allowed to recommend
any bank,
any trading platform.
Okay, trading.
Okay, you can invest it with your bank or a trading platform.
Okay,
but make sure it's a stock and shares ISA, so that you can put in maximum of £20,000, and it's the interest, the returns, the dividends, the growth is tax free.
Okay.
So that's one for ISA. So it can be either using your bank or using a trading platform for that. So that's one. Now, I've talked about pension. Wherever you are working, once they have a pension fund, please join the pension fund and maximize your contribution to the pension fund. And by the side, open a SIPP, self-invested pension program. Okay? Now, that self-invested program, pension program, SIPP, there are many, they're different. Please Google, use AI, and tell you to find out the best SIPP that is good for you. For that one as well, you can start with £10, £20, £30. Just automate it so that it goes in regularly. So that no matter how your expenses rise, before the expenses rise, the investment has gone in. The difference between people, the rich and the middle class, is that the rich invest first before they spend. The middle class spend first before they invest. So for us as Christians, we need to reverse it. Invest first and spend. But you don't invest in a way that will damage your family. So that's why I said choose an amount that you can afford. £10, £20, £25, £30. Choose that and then walk around one with that automation. So because it's standing order every month. So those are the two. First, and then now, when you now want to invest in the stock market, you can now use trading platforms. Either trading platform or you use the investment platforms of your bank. Now, the bank would always tell you, you can make money and you can lose money. But the truth is, if you really want to invest in anything, financial education is important. And you don't need to go in depth to say, okay, what was the candle? How is this rising? The sign. Am I an investor or am I a trader? If you are starting to create wealth, please start as a investor, not as a trader. The trader looks at how the market moves from time to time and makes investment decisions based on it. If you are just starting out, you are not a trader. You need to learn to become a trader. You need to spend time, money, resources to make sure you invest your money properly so that whether it's going up and down, you're making money because you can hedge your transaction. Okay. So when you're now going into the stock, search and look for dividend stocks.
Okay.
And you have dividend stocks that have track record or pay dividend for over 20 years. They are not likely to stop. So you can decide for my pie, my investment pie in the stock market, I want 30% of it to go into dividend stock. Then you can choose another 30% to go into value stocks. These are shares from companies that their value was always rising, so that the value of your portfolio can also increase. And then you can now put the remaining 40%, put 20% in ETFs and 20% in mutual funds, so that you have a balanced pie. Now, what is ETF? It is called exchange traded funds. So, and ETF, you have different ETFs in different sectors of the economy. I'm trying to not be technical. Different sectors of the economy. I would say we have a very powerful tool called AI you can use. Just go on and say, what are the best ETFs for me to invest in as a new wealth builder? It will tell you. The same thing when it comes to mutual funds. What are the best mutual funds to invest in as a beginner that wants to grow wealth? So we've talked about pension, we've talked about ISA, we've talked about ETF, we've talked about mutual funds, we've talked about stock, and then there are now money market funds. Some of these are like bonds. Bonds are fixed, it's like you are loaning money to a company or to a bank. And many times they are fixed interest. So it could be like most small funds now in the UK, they're like about 3.84%. Before now, as of last year, we're getting 5% return, but now it has really gone down. If you get 4%, you really are lucky. They're also 3.5, 3.8 return.
Wow.
So the idea is to make sure that you diversify, to make sure each investment will play a different role in your wealth building journey. So consistency is important. Okay. That's why I talked about automating it, putting it in standing order to make sure that all this investment goes before you start spending money. Money will never be enough.
True.
It's a discipline to decide this is how I'm going to spend my money. This is how my money is going to go. And I know there's been a lot of talk and discussion about paying tithes or not paying tithes. For me, paying tithes is an investment.
Yeah.
Because if I want the heavens to be open over me, if I want the wisdom of God to reign in me, if I want God to open doors that no man can shut, then I need God on my side. I don't need the heavens to be closed over me. I need to operate under open heavens. So I don't joke with paying my tithe. But please don't be cajoled into paying your tithe. If you don't believe, Bible says anything that is not done in faith, it's not acceptable to God.
True.
You understand? So if you don't believe in it, please don't do it. But it's what as it passed down to me, it's what I passed down to my children, and what I passed down to my grandchildren. What belongs to God goes to God. But the thing is, be wise when it comes to where do you pay your time.
Okay.
It's important. Thank you.
Let me, regarding that tithe, I have two questions that is coming to me now. The first question is, if somebody, based on everything you've mentioned, we've got pension, we've got stock market, and so on and so forth. Based on what you've mentioned, what about somebody, maybe they're already in their 50s and they've not done any of this? How can they start?
Incidentally, a new book that I'm just writing will be released next week is on retirement income reset. A capture blueprint if when you know that you're behind. You know. The thing is, for many of us, there are ways that we spend money that might not have been very wise in the past. And so there's a need to, first of all, reassess where you are. How much do I have? How much can I afford to put into investment? What can I say? What can I let go for me to have more money that I can use to catch up on my retirement investment? How can I improve my earning ability so I can have more funds flowing into me than I have before? What skills do I need to acquire to increase my earning ability and capacity? If you look at the story of the 3 servants, there one was given 5 talents, one was given 3 talents, one was given 1 talent. Bible says according to their ability. So there's a need to increase your ability so that your return, your investment, whatever you're involved in can actually increase. So that is on the side. The financial education is the bridge between wealth building and sustaining wealth. Educate yourself. Learn. Go on YouTube. Find out how people are investing. Don't just take one person's opinion or one person's idea. Watch as many as 10. If I want to learn a new skill, I watch about 10 to 20 videos on YouTube. Before I will start reading articles on it. By the time you watch about 20 videos, it will give you a clear direction of what I need to do. Then there's a need for accelerated investment program. Now, for example, for some people, it could be that on assets that is not, what's the right word to use, underperforming assets, you might need to let go of them so that you can raise some capital.
What do you mean by performing assets? Sorry, can you explain?
Underperforming assets.
Underperforming assets, okay.
For some people living in the UK, Nigerians, they bought land in Nigeria that was appreciated.
Yeah.
Which they are not using. This is the time to sell it off. so that you can have the capital to invest in yourself that will give you money that will be able to now use to build. I tell people, once you're established, you're living in the UK, your children have grown up in the UK, the possibility of you going back to retire in Nigeria is almost 5% or less.
Mm.
So having a house in Nigeria is no longer I will not be an asset because your children are not going to inherit it, they're not going to stay there, they're not going to live there. Maybe build a house for your parents to live, good. Or you build a mansion for yourself that you stay in for 2 weeks in a year. For me, it's not very good economic or financial wisdom. So sometimes of those things are things you need to let go so you can build capital that you would use for your own investment where you are resident.
Mm.
So that you can build the wealth that you can pass on. Even if you are not passing it on to your children, the knowledge, the values are the most important thing that you need to really pass on to your children.
Mm.
But for you to be able to restart and reset, that is important for the capital. Then you now look at, okay, once I can see this is where the capital is coming from, and how much extra can I take out of my current income to put into investment? I did a strategy session with a lady, and I told her, when we discussed that, no, I said, for the next 1 year, you don't buy any ashwebi. If anybody doesn't want you at their party, don't attend. No ashwebi. So that was one. And then I said, no holidays for 1 year. All the money that should go into the ashwebi, please put it in this fund. All the money that should go, so when anybody calls, we used to laugh about it. She will tell me, oh, it's my cousin. She'll tell me all the stories and all. I said, how much is it? £85, £120, put it into this fund. Ask them for the color. Go in the world, choose the color. And in less than a year, she was able to raise more than this, almost £2,000. Just from letting go of holidays, and then letting go of Netflix. Because I told her, you want to watch movies, go on YouTube. There are many movies to watch on YouTube.
It's true.
You don't need to have Netflix and Sky at the same time. Charlie, if you are looking at financial engineering and bringing your things together, you understand? So we look at a financial outlay, and then we came to some places where she had to let go so that they could go into a retirement fund. And that way we are able to reshape the financial outlay. And I said, look, all I'm asking for is 5 lean years. Bible talks about 7 years of abundance and 7 lean years. That you prepare from your abundance to prepare for the lean years. That's why the Bible is so complete. If you really look at what the Bible is saying and follow it, you will be able to catch up. But what did Joseph said? 20% from the 7 years of bountiful harvest, put that 20% into reserve it for the 7 years of lean harvest. That is the Pareto principle, the 80-20 principle. If you decide to apply that to your finances, you understand, look at the 20% that you can take out and then put it in investment. Do it for 5-7 years. You will bounce back. You will catch up. That's why I said it's a new book that will be released incidentally next week. And it's on retirement reset, retirement catch-up blueprint.
Okay.
It's possible to catch up. But it needs discipline and it needs to follow through and financial education.
Okay. Thank you so much. The other question that is coming to me, you mentioned tithes. I know it's quite a lot of controversial about this issue of tithes, and I like the way you did explain it. But what about people that have let go? They say, when I say let go, that they said, okay, I don't want to go to church anymore, but they still believe in this tithing. So how can they navigate that tithe? Where can they put their tithes? When they believe their tithe, but they said to themselves, I believe in tithe, but I believe majority of the pastor, don't let me say all, that is that, oh no, they have this mentality that this pastor that is eating their money, but they want to pay their tithe and they don't have a particular church they are attending and they want to pay tithe. Is there any other way they can sort out their tithe even though they're not going to church?
Yes. The Bible talks about the seventh year, that every seventh year, your tithe should go to the widows, it should go to the motherless, the fatherless, and those who don't have anything around you. The main thing is to choose your charity. The Bible tells us about God answering that when you lend to the poor, when you give to the poor, you are lending to God.
Okay.
So if you don't, the Bible is very clear when it comes to tithing. It says, bring all your tithes into the store that there may be meat in my house. But it also gives that provision that every 7 years, give it not to the house, but to the poor, to the motherless, to those who need things. So you can decide, okay, I am not giving it to a church, but which ministry is taking care of the poor? Which ministry is taking care that I know and believe in is taking care of the orphan? I can decide that is where my tithe would go.
Wonderful. That's a good one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. Let me just bring up one or two more questions. What investment mistake should people avoid when trying to build long-term wealth?
There are several mistakes that can destroy your years of progress. One, trying to get rich quickly.
Amen.
If something sounds too good to be true, then it's probably too good to be true. If an investment promises high returns with little or no risk, approach it with caution.
Okay.
When somebody is telling you, come and invest and I will give you 40% return, you don't know what you cannot say this is what they are doing with the money. How are they able to invest? What are they investing in that gives that they are making? I mean, everybody that can give 40% return must at least be making 60% or 80% return. So it's important to test and be sure before you put your money into any investment. So try to get rich quickly, not diversifying.
Okay.
The Bible is so complete. I mean, I can find every answer to any question in the Bible. Bible says, invest in 7 ventures in every verticals, knowing it, but you do not know what disaster may come upon the earth. So diversify your investment. We have talked today about the pension fund. We have talked about ISA. We have talked about individual stocks. We've talked about dividend value stocks. We've talked about mutual funds. We've talked about ETFs. Diversify and talk about real estate. We did not talk about crypto. We did not talk about forex. These are investment options. We don't talk about social media. We don't talk about AI. We don't talk about online business. We don't talk about starting a small business. Diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So putting all your money in one company or one asset or one country increases your risk. So your investment will be in one country as well.
Okay.
I mean, there's one lady that I got talking to, somebody referred to me that I should talk to him. She had a big investment in Ukraine. She had houses, she had business. People were sending money to their children through her. She was changing money, helping people to transfer. You know, our whole life had to do with Ukraine. When the war started, it was like, boom, just went down flat.
Wow.
Start all over again. You know, so diversify, not just in investment, but in location as well. Then investing without understanding understanding. Never invest in something simply because your friends or social media is talking about it. Invest with understanding. No, the Bible talks about search everything.
I know the one that's true. Yeah.
Exactly. You know. Then allowing emotions to control your decisions.
Mm.
People will talk. This one is falling, this one is rising, this one is. Don't let grief take over.
Mm.
Don't allow your emotions to control your decisions because your brother-in-law says, "Oh, people are making money from crypto. Come and put money into crypto." I don't
And you
understand
jump the
it.
wagon. Mm-hmm.
We are going to lose money.
Mm.
They're neglecting retirement planning. We're not getting younger. As the days are rising, there's a need to plan for your retirement. Apart from planning for your retirement, is having a tax structure that would be favorable to you.
Mm.
Now, the inheritance tax is 40%. There's a threshold of free 25,000, although they now want to increase it.
Mm.
But if you put your assets into a trust fund, you understand, and that trust fund owns what you have. It's part of your retirement planning. You end up not paying tax on such assets that you want to pass on to different generations.
Mm.
And then your children now become beneficiary of the trust deed.
Mm.
So it's no longer owned by an individual, you or your husband, it's owned by the trust.
Mm.
So the tax, what's the right word? There are ways you plan for your retirement that is tax efficient. Okay. Then ignoring inflation, one less idle because you're thinking about it. You have 500 pounds in your account. You're thinking about where to put it. You want to wait and see. There's a war in Iran. Maybe it would affect this. Property prices, they say it's falling down. And I should wait until it. That alone as well could destroy your years of financial progress. Because when you're supposed to go in, you're not going in, and then you end up losing momentum.
Mm.
People who invested in February in energy stocks, petroleum companies, their investment has gone up by about 40% already.
Wow.
You understand? So
Yeah.
that is important. Then ignoring inflation, money left side will definitely reduces purchasing power. Then shining object syndrome. When it looks good, everybody is doing it, so I have to do it as well. Everybody is saying this is the right way to go, this, and then you do it as well. You're not even asking yourself, God, is this what you want me to go into? So my favorite reminder is do not chase quick money. Build money patiently. Money that will last, that will be sustainable, is not quick money.
Wonderful. That's a good one. So what do you think about MLM, multi-level marketing? Because I've seen a lot of people, they've entered into MLM, including myself talking. I've been it, and he's not a good example. I will not say I didn't have a good what's it called, experience. Let me just put it that way. I didn't have a good experience, and everyone I've done is just no, it didn't work. And we've invested so much and people are still doing it. And some people, they said they have the result. So why is it that some are getting the result and some are not getting the results?
Multi-level marketing is a great way of building wealth. But you need to get on early and be one of the fast movers. Okay. Now, when it comes to multi-level marketing, it depends on building a team.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on your team working.
Okay.
And so, if you're not very good with team building and you're not able to get your team to actually have the same passion that you are putting into it, and talking to people every day, you might not be able to succeed in multi-level marketing. I would suggest other things other than multi-level marketing. Now, especially if you are learning from, if you are joining from Africa, the exchange rate makes it difficult to succeed with multi-level marketing because it keeps fluctuating. And so when you are buying products, maybe you bought it this year, this month at 1 unit. By next month, it has gone to 1.3 units. It's difficult to continue. So I would say, one, you need to have a passion for whatever you are selling. And two, you need to dedicate time to it. Many people who are doing it, they try to do it as a side hustle. But many times, side hustles that does not depend on your efforts to succeed will be difficult to succeed in. Because multi-level marketing depends not only on your effort, but on the effort of your team members.
Yeah.
So unless all you are doing is just selling the product and not building a team, which is just one leg of multi-level marketing, then it will be difficult.
That's a good one. Yeah, I want to go back to when you mentioned, when I asked a question about people now in their late 40, 50, and in their 60 that have not invested in anything. And I remember you said, if they have like a property, maybe for example, they have in Nigeria or maybe an African country and they are living in the UK, that is something that they can sell, to start investing in their future. Okay, with the exchange rate, let's say someone now, let me just use like a scenario now, like somebody bought a property, and maybe they invested about £5,000, for example, when they bought the property. And now because of the inflation, the economic exchange rate and all that stuff, the property depreciates in value. So how will they get there? Even their own capital they've already used to invest in that particular property when they're about to sell it and say, now I want to start building for my future where I reside.
Starting from two ways.
Okay.
One, they will need to revalue that property. The real estate in Nigeria, the value has really gone up. But I thought in the beginning, I said location matters.
Location, yeah.
You cannot go at the value of a property in Lagos is not the same value in Abeokuta. It's not the same value in Umuahia. It's not the same value in Sokoto. A 3-bedroom property in Agege is not the same as a 3-bedroom property in Lekki.
True.
So the location matters a lot. That is one. So that's why I said, before any investment, choose your location properly. Because there are some areas where, sincerely, the value of the property has really, really gone up and has moved in relation to the exchange rate. So that's one. Which means to revalue and be sure of the value of the property even before you start thinking about selling.
Okay.
The second thing is that it's better even if the value has gone down and you are not staying in that property. The rental income from the property does not sustain you. So now when you go for 2 weeks for your holiday, take an Airbnb that is fully equipped, that will serve your need, no power failure, no secured and all. Use it for those 2 weeks that you're around. and still sell the property, even if it's at a loss, so that you can have a capital to respect your financial life.
Mm.
So don't just hang on to another performing property out of sentiment. Explore all options to see what can be done.
Okay.
Now, as I said, if you build the house for your parents are living there first. That does not come
You can't
in.
sell, you can't say the parents are living in the property. That's a good one. Okay. How can family protect their wealth from inflation, economic downturns, and poor financial decisions?
Building wealth is one achievement. Protecting wealth is another.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. So families can spend their financial future using 5 strategies. You want to diversify your assets. I've talked about that, so you don't depend on a single source of income or only one type of investment. Continue investing even during different economic cycles. So some investors understand the markets rise and the fall.
Oh, yeah.
So if the market is rising and falling, if you are putting £100 into investment, keep on putting the £100. We understand. So that it's consistent and it's continuous. So different economic cycles continue investing. Maintain a safety net, emergency savings, and then adequate insurance that can prevent financial shocks from destroying your long-term plan. It's important. Many of us don't take adequate insurance. And it's important that we have some things in place. If you know you are working, you can make sure you can take a life insurance policy that covers your points where you are not able to work or disability. So maintain a safety net. Then create a family financial system. Have conversations about money, about writing your will, about keeping proper records, preparing the next generation to manage wealth responsibly. Keep learning, keep adapting. You see, there are some skills we all need to have. How to make money, how to save money, how to invest money, how to multiply money, how to protect money, how to share money. There are skills we need to learn. Remember, the goal is not just to make money. The goal is to make money and protect the money for the next generation and to know how to multiply. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, if you could give one advice to someone who wants to build generational wealth, what could that be? That is one question. And I want to add this one as well. That, when many people hear about everything you've mentioned about property, stock, business, market money, even digital investments, how should a beginner, somebody that is beginning, decide that, okay, which one is the best option for me? Because I've come across some people, they'll say, I'm a shy person. I talk about MLM. I talk about, we've talked about MLM, pension and all that. Like this young generation, they might say, okay, we're still young, we're in our 20s. Why should I start preparing for my pension? I still have more life, to live. I'm not in my 40s, 50 or 60, getting towards retirement age. So how do we deal with that one?
One piece of advice, that's where you are. Think beyond yourself. Think generationally. Just don't think about today. For many people, the lockdown in 2020, 21, 2022 was a wake-up call. It showed that nothing is permanent. It proves to us that anything can collapse, any structure.
It's true.
I mean, I have some friends who are running successful businesses. I mean, income generating businesses. I'll give you an example in Nigeria. There was one that had a big supermarket.
Okay.
Lockdown, it couldn't open. They have to shut down.
Mm.
There was one that was running an hotel. Lockdown, they couldn't operate, it had to shut down.
Mm.
There was one that was running an event center. The event center to hire it was
Mm.
1.5 million per event.
Wow.
And they were having like events, I mean, minimum of 3 to 4 events in a month. They have
Mm.
to shut down. They ran into cash financial crisis during the
Wow.
lockdown.
Hmm.
So it's important to know that not just about today. I talked about building wealth,
Yeah.
today's wealth, future wealth, and generational wealth. So you build wealth for today. You build um, you build to wealth for tomorrow. Wealth today is for increased income. Future wealth is for through investments and retirement planning. Generational wealth is through legacy and financial education. So we're talking about building wealth. You are building today's wealth, your future wealth, and generational wealth. Those are the 3 types of wealth you have to start thinking about building. You're not just jumping straight to generational wealth. So
Mm.
when you say, I am young, I have time, yeah, which wealth are you building for today? And which wealth are you building for the future? When you get
Mm.
married, when you have children. Before we even talk about generational wealth. So as I said, one advice, that's where you are. Think beyond yourself, think generationally. Now, for a generation that starts building wealth, it starts with one person. They can just decide, the financial story of my family will change because of me. It starts
Mm.
with me. We don't create millions overnight. We don't build generational wealth overnight. It's consistent decisions that are made over time. So
Mm.
once you increase the ability to earn, I'll talk about that. You learn to live within your means, spend less than you make by investing, and then you invest regularly, automate it so that the money keeps going. Build multiple streams of income,
Mm.
protect your assets, and then teach your children financial wisdom.
Yeah.
Well, not just what to leave to your children, also what to leave in your children. The knowledge, the discipline, the value, and the confidence
Mm.
for them to build their own future. It's important. So don't aim to build generational wealth, but start with today's wealth. Then progress to future wealth, and then you get generational wealth.
Wow.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for that insight. So, to all our audience, the Bible says wisdom is the principal things in all getting, get understanding. When you are investing or somebody come to you, this is what is going on, please get knowledge. Understand what you are investing. I've seen a lot of people, even pastors, they've lost so much money because they didn't get the proper knowledge about what they are investing into, and the money went down the drain. Even I'm an example as well. So please, whatever you want to invest in, get knowledge. Thank God for YouTube, and thank God for coaches like Bibi. She is a wonderful coach as well, retirement coach. And if you're in your 50s as well, 60s as well, that you're thinking that, okay, I've not done much, that's a good advice. Especially if you're from Africa, you've had it all. And if you're not in Africa, you're in UK, you don't have anything that you can fall back to. Whatever you have, you can still start. It is not too late. If you need more information about investment, or you like to reach out to my guest, if you don't understand or you need more clarity about what she has shared so far on this talk show, do get in touch for more clarity and more question. If you have any question or you need more clarity, do get in touch with her. Thank you so much to my wonderful guest, and I'm so grateful for that insightful knowledge and insight you've shared to us. And that is that from us Now, bye, everyone.